Today we're going to be looking at the Edddie Cochran classic Summertime Blues as performed by Pete Townshend and The Who on their seminal live album Live at Leeds. If you're interested in how this would sound at full speed in a band situation, my friend Dakota Dean and I have a video of us performing it two-man band style here on my YouTube page you can check out. It's just called Summertime Blues with Dakota Dean. I'm going to be showing you again the Who version, both the rhythm parts and the lead, the solo, which is another great example of Pete Townshend's style, particularly how he mixed those movable chord shapes and the pentatonic scales that we've been working on so much. The original, the Edddie Cochran version, is in E. This song is just a 1-4-5. That's basically the song, right? The Who play it in A, so it's... But instead of playing the E chord like that, Pete plays a little riff over it. And so instead it sounds like this, starting from the intro. That's essentially the intro, okay? So you go A to D, and then over the E it's... So, couldn't be easier. E, G, A, and then he just sort of bends that G note on the 6th string 3rd fret over the A chord. Full G5 chord, D chord, before the first verse comes in. So gonna raise a fuss, gonna raise a holler. And then over the D, it's... You know, you can play it up here. That didn't sound good, but you know what I'm doing here. It's that same chunking pattern that you can play in various ways. And that's basically it. That's basically the chord progression. Variations of the A, the D, the little riff over the E, and then just that kind of hanging G chord there before it goes into a verse. Listen to the original, you'll catch it pretty quickly. It's pretty easy to play along with. Now, I wanted to spend more time on the solo since that's sort of the more difficult part and the meat and potatoes here. He starts off playing those sliding 6 that we've spent so much time on. That's in the key of A, which is what we're talking about here. So and I've showed you how you can do the exact same thing on the 2nd and 4th strings as you can on the 1st and 3rd strings. He goes... indistinct. Of course, he's playing the SG special through the high watt stacks, and it's completely cranked. So when he's playing these on these middle strings, it's a little bit indistinct, but basically you're sliding up. Think of this as your movable C shape, right? Moved up to the 5th fret. The E note is the root, so it's like bits of an E chord, if you will. You're playing 6th fret, 4th string, 5th fret, 3rd string. 2nd string, and he just kind of slides into that. It kind of resolves to part of the A chord, 1st position A chord. Again, we're only playing the 2nd and 4th strings. Second time he hits more of that passing, those passing notes, which would be the same thing 2 frets down. So think of it again, your movable C shape. Here it's a D, here it's an E, so he sort of goes. And then the next figure is way more distinct because he's coming up on the 3rd and 1st strings. So 9th fret to 7th. And now we're talking about your movable D shape. If you brought that up there, it's an A chord. So he's playing part of an A chord, down to part of a G chord. And what's that? Part of your movable F shape of an A chord. So it's basically A chord, G chord, A chord over an A chord. And I'm finger picking this. You can play it with a... You can play it with a pick, however you want to play it. Okay, so that's the first part of the solo on the 2nd and 4th strings and 3rd and 1st strings. Now he goes into a pentatonic riff. A minor pentatonic, right? 5th fret. Standard rock, crunching, wailing lead figure here. He just tortures that 7th fret, 3rd string note. It's the 4 in this scale. Okay, it's the D note. And he's playing that E note at the 5th fret, 2nd string at the same time, right? Standard rock and roll bend where you're sort of bending that note up to meet this note, because this is a D, so we're sort of bending it up to meet that E. So he plays those 2 notes for about 4 measures. He just really wails on them, really hangs on them. And when he resolves out of it, it's like this. Okay, so let's break that down again from that unison bend, which just means you're playing 2 notes at once when you're bending one of them up to meet the other in this case. So it's bend and release of that 7th fret 3rd string. This is just A minor pentatonic stuff. 7, 5, 7, 3, open. down to the 6th string. Open 3, 4, 5 on the 6th string, 5 on the 5th string, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, open. Now the only note that's outside of that pentatonic scale, other than the passing note there, that 4th fret, of course, is outside the pentatonic scale. It's just a passing note, just a chromatic. But when he hits that F note, it sounds a little off. And in fact, that is not a note in either the A major or minor pentatonic scale. So it's kind of an off note, and frankly, the way Pete played, just really with wild abandon, it might have been a missed note, but that's the way it is. So okay, after the solo there is a key change. You can play with that if you wish. It's just the same chord progression as the original chord progression. Nothing too complicated there. So that's another look at some of Pete Townshend's lead guitar styling. Playing a Gretsch Import Pro Jet with the US Bigsby B7 added and the GFS NYII monster single coils. They kind of get into that P90 territory of the Gibson SG Special. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time.